In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use while loops. And looping in any programming language is one of the most powerful and most used things that you're going to be doing. If you think of it in a practical sense, one thing that helped me understand the way loops worked is take something in the real world, like trying to take a tire off of a car. If you were to want to do that, you would have to get the wrench and undo the bolts on the tire. If you were telling a computer program to do it, you wouldn't want to tell them to do it, by creating one statement, then another statement, then another statement. You'd want it to all happen automatically until it was done. And that's what a while loop essentially accomplishes, is you can give a certain list of conditions that you want to be run in your program, and then the program will run those conditions for you until they meet something that will make it stop. And so that can be something that's sometimes called a sentinel event, or it can just mean that the conditions within the loop have been satisfied. We're going to do two different types of loops in the series, but in this video itself, we're going to start off using while loops. And so we're going to start off with a very basic one. You can see I have the console open this time, so you can actually see everything that comes out. And I'm going to click on logs just so we don't see the errors that JS Fiddle has. So what we're going to do first is initialize a variable, and we don't have to do it, but I'm going to do it just because it's easier to read. So I'm going to do var num is equal to 1, and then we're going to start our while loop. So to start a while loop, you just type in while and then parentheses, and then you give it a condition. So you want this program that we're going to put in inside the brackets, we want this condition or the program to run until this condition is met. So we're going to give it a basic one. We're just going to say num is less than or equal to 10. Then you start brackets, and we're going to console log this. The reason I'm not doing alert box is because it's going to print out 10 different things, and I don't want to click out on 10 different boxes. And so we're going to just console log the number itself. So I'm going to explain it a little bit in more detail in a second. And so the way that this is working, and don't run this yet because it would break the computer, or break the window, because it would cause what's called an infinite loop, which we'll go into in a second. But so what the program is essentially going to do, we're calling the console log function, and it's going to print out num every single time until it reaches that 10 value. After it reaches the 10 value, the program will be over. Now the problem with how this is written at the moment is we are not actually changing this number variable at all. So it will run the loop once, and it'll print out a 1. Then it'll run the loop again. It'll print out a 1, and again and again and again. It'll happen an infinite number of times, or a near infinite number of times. Not possible to happen an infinite number of times, but it'll happen. There's nothing that is going to stop this program from running. It'll happen, and this is something you'll hear a lot in computer science. It's a infinite loop, because this condition will never be met. And so what you have to do within the while loop is you have to change this number value. And there's one way you could do it. You could do num equals num plus 1, and that would work. Every time it would loop through, it'd print out the number value, and then it would come and it would add number plus 1, assign that new added 1 onto the value, and then it would keep going, and it would print out 1, 2, 3, 4, because it changes and assigns a new value with each loop. But JavaScript actually has a shortcut for this. So all you have to do is do num and then do 2 plus signs, and it accomplishes the same thing. It'll add 1, and then it will add that number 1 to the number variable each time, and it'll get added, and then eventually you'll hit that 10 mark. So I'm going to run this. And JS Fiddle's taking a second to run it. And there it goes. So as you can see, if you look down at the console here, you have 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 10. So that worked perfectly. Now there's a lot of different variations. We're going to get into a lot of those later on. The first one I'm going to show you is you don't have to just add one at a time. We can do num plus 2, and then we can run that. And as you can see, now on the console, it printed out 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So it took that 1, it added 2 to it, so it skipped up to 3, then it went to 5, and so on and so forth. So you can change these while loops however you want. You can add, you can, the other thing we're going to do here in a second is we're going to change this number variable to 10, and then change this to greater than or equal to, we'll change it to 0. And then instead of adding, we are going to come, and I wanted to show you this subtraction shortcut. So if you click subtract, this will take away 1 each time. So now, just to explain how this is going to work, it's the exact same thing as adding, except now it's just starting at 10 and it will count down. So click run, and now you can see our new line: 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, all the way down to 0 here on the console. So this is an introduction to while loops. We're going to get into how these can become much more complex here in the next video, and by showing how you can nest if statements within the while statements. You can also put whiles and other statements like that within them as well to add a lot more complexity and power to the programs, and that's what we'll go to in the next video.